Hey there, welcome to my channel. My name is Linda. Today we're going to be working on some DIY shabby fabric hearts. We'll be focusing on using product from Reneabouquets.com, so let's get started. First up, we're going to take a look at some of the Reneabouquet product we'll be using. These are laser cut chipboard, beautiful board laser cut chipboard, a set of chain link frames. These are beautiful words, Happy Valentine's Day. I'm actually just going to kind of use the larger heart out of this set. These are beautiful words as well. They're about the thickness of a nickel. They're sturdy like wood. These love words, I'll be using one of those. These are beautiful words, sweet as sugar. I'll use the word sweet out of the set. These are ATC tags, and this one is called Sweetheart. So you have the little cutout with the heart in it. And this one is called Stackable Heart. So you can kind of stack the heart right on top. These are dream keys. You get a set of 4. You can choose silver or bronze. I believe I used the silver one. These are element pieces, and this one happens to be called circuit board. You get a set of 2, the larger sheets, and then you can cut them up like you see there in my left hand. They're great for background pieces. These are a set of 6 decorative claw cans. These are skeleton leaves, cute tucked in flowers, just like these mini soft ivory roses and leaves. They come in a set of 24. And we'll be using these cute butterflies. These are Aurora Borealis in pink. So with that said, let's move on to project number 1. So what I've started with is I freehanded a set of 3 hearts, one larger, medium, small, and going kind of from the point to the tallest point, the bottom point to the tallest point at the top. This is 9 3/4, and going from the widest width at the top. This one is 6 1/2. So 9 3/4 by 6 1/2. The second one is 8 by 5 1/2. And the last one is 6 1/2 by 4 1/2. And I'll go ahead and just show these here to you if you want to screenshot them and try to get them around the same size if you like this design. I've got the larger one and the smaller one already done. So we're going to go ahead and work on the middle one here. Again, this is 8 by 5 1/2. I'm using this beautiful fabric here. Now, all this fabric here I got at Hobby Lobby. And when I place my design on there, I'm taking my smaller heart and placing it on top so I can kind of see what's going to show around the top portion of that heart. So try to be, conscious of where you're setting your heart on there, because when you stack them from large to small, you're going to kind of see the heart below and between whatever. So, kind of see how the design lays as you're laying it. I've pinned it and cut it out. And we're going to make this real easy. And here again, I'm checking. You can see how really pretty the design looks around that smaller heart on top. I'm going to make a couple of pins put in here, because that's the area I want to leave open. Now you can use Beacon Fabri-Tac glue, or you can use a hot glue gun for this, or of course your sewing machine. If you do, you're going to kind of go around from that first pin all the way around, both little curves there, and to the other side. And I like to leave the opening on the side. It's just kind of easier there, but you can leave it where you want. And then of course I'm going to take mine to the sewing machine, but just make sure it's like a little 3-inch opening at least wherever you want to put it on your heart. And I'm leaving this so that the sides are out and kind of have that farmhouse look, a little bit shabby versus kind of, putting the right sides together, sewing around the edges, and then having to turn it so the right sides are back out. I don't know. I just kind of like that tattered, seams out, frayed look. And I think it's just a little bit easier for those of you who aren't sewers, and you want to use that gluing option to put this together as well. This is what it looks like with that opening here I've set. Now we're going to go ahead and add in, I'll start a little bit here, do the rest off camera. We're going to fill in with some stuffing here. I kind of like to fill in the little corners first and up at the big areas, and then fill the rest in. And then you want to go ahead and close that either with your Fabri-Tac glue once it's stuffed, or your hot glue. I'm taking mine here to the sewing machine, as you can see, just lining up my stitches there. And now I want, as you can see here, I kind of want to distress around the edges. So all I do is just pull on like with my fingernail. You can take the open end of your scissor blades and scrape along the sides however you want, just to give it that kind of distressed, shabby look along the sides. If you don't like that, you don't have to do it. So here are my 3 hearts, and I've chosen a stripe, a floral, and a polka dot. Whenever you're choosing like 3 patterns together, a stripe, a floral, and a polka dot look really beautiful together. Okay, so just something, a tip for you. Now you can glue these 3 hearts together if you want, but I'm going to use this long doll needle. You can get these in a package at Walmart, and this is just some crochet thread, or you can use regular string or whatever, double knotting it at the end. But again, if you're not a sewer, you can glue them together. And I'm taking the bottom heart, going from the back to the front, just kind of pulling that through a little bit. Then I'll add the middle heart, just poking it through, nice and easy, back to the front. And then I'll go ahead and add that top heart. I'm going to go ahead and cut the string off my needle here, and I'm just going to double knot it right down, pulling it a little bit taut against that heart and double knotting it right down into the center there. Because that needle's kind of big, it leaves kind of a big hole. I don't want that knot to fall through the hole. And then cut off the excess. Just like that, we've got our hearts together. Really cute, but you can see how all those patterns complement each other. So now we're going to start putting our decoration on top. So I'm using one of these ATC stackable heart tags. Now I've got paper here that I've already cut to fit just the inside of the tag. I've sewed around the edges on my sewing machine. Really easy. Now I'm scraping around the edges to add some texture with my scissors. And then I will do the same on this little scrapbook tag here. When I go to design for Reneabouquets, I don't know, my scrapbooking side of me pops out. So I pull out a lot of scrapbooking elements and mixed media elements. And I know this might not be maybe how you craft, but you can certainly take elements from this and put together how you like it and create your own beautiful set of stacked hearts. So I've stacked both of those pieces onto that ATC tag, and I'm just gluing that little heart element on top. And now I'm seeing my placement here, the frame on top, or the tag on top of the frame, seeing where I can put my glue so my glue won't be seen. Okay, so I'm just adding a little glue down there, making sure, adding that on top. And then I've got some cute floral trim here that I get at Hobby Lobby. I'm going to add a little bit of that. Yeah, so maybe you don't like all this stuff on top, but you love the concept of the hearts and you want to add the little bow and hanging element, Reneabouquet element that we'll use later, and that's all you want to do, then that's all you need to do. But enjoy, watching this process. I think it's a lot of fun. So I have some fabric here that I ripped off, just a 1-inch strip. I just ripped it by hand to give it that tattered look. And before I go any further, I'm kind of weeding it around the hearts underneath that frame, and we're going to come around the side here and just get it into position and tie a little bow here, and then we'll come back to that a little bit later, and I'll adjust the bow and stuff a little bit later. I think I do it off camera, maybe not, I don't know, but we'll fix it later and figure out how big I want the loops, etc. Alright, so we're going to go ahead now and glue this ATC tag on top. And I'm just seeing here where the glue is going to be touching something on the frame. And then I've got a little wood heart here. I've added just a couple layers of cardboard too so that it stands up a little bit. I'm going to put that right in the middle of our tag. And then I've got some upholstery or quilting thread here, upholstery thread, whatever works. I love to take a big bunch of this and wind it around my fingers, pull it off, and just glue it down just like this. It adds that great, soft, romantic kind of shabby texture to a project. And then I'm going to bring up some of these mini soft ivory roses from Reneabouquets. I'm going to use 3 of them here. I've left the little stems on them and twirled the end around like a paintbrush handle, so they kind of have the little curly cues of the stems on there. I peel off the leaves, so that's why there's no leaves on the back. I always peel the leaves off my flowers for some reason. Put them in a little trio here. And then I have 2 stickers here, I Love Us and Hold On Tight. I get them from this. It's by Tim Holtz Ideology. You can find this in the scrapbook section. There's a big Tim Holtz section, Hobby Lobby, Joann's. And I put it on really thin, like cereal box type cardboard. And it runs right through my sewing machine, no problem. And I just add a little glue and then sew those onto the cardboard just to give it a little bit of stability. And then I'm going to take the open end of my scissor blade, scrape around a little bit so it kind of matches all the other shabby texture and stuff. And then we'll just go ahead and use our Beacon Fabri-Tac glue, and I'm going to just glue it onto the wood heart here. Perfect. I've got some really thin twine here. I'm just going to have it tied in a bow. Just going to glue it down right between the center of that trio of flowers. And then I've got the little Aurora Borealis butterfly kisses here. I'm tucking right in there. And then this is some Gaudy Girl glitter glass. It's in the color Pearl from Reneabouquets. I didn't show that at the beginning. And then I've got some other supplies here from my stash. These are called Art Stones by Prima Marketing. You can look for that online. They're really lightweight, no weight to them all. Love to put that on there. You can use Beacon Fabri-Tac glue with this. You want to make sure that it dries clear. I'm also going to use some sequins and some little gems. I like to use this 3D matte gel transparent scrapbooking item, again by Prima Marketing, and I take an old like Dollar Tree paintbrush because it's perfect for this, because it's not a great paintbrush. It's real kind of fluffy and chintzy, and I dip it into my stuff and then dip it into the art stones, or I put a little dab on there and glue like a little sequin on there. You just use it like glue. And then why am I not using the Fabri-Tac? Because I'm just used to using this. But you can use the Fabri-Tac or any glue that dries clear. And now I'm just painting it onto the flowers, and I'll just kind of pour on that Gaudy Girl Reneabouquets glitter glass. And I just put that wherever I want it to stick. And then I turn it over. I've got a drip pan below, kind of tap off the excess, and you can see I have little gems there. I'll show you those in our next project, but you can see the really pretty shabby texture it adds. And then I've got these bulb pins I get from Walmart in the sewing section, a metal dream key, and the love word from Reneabouquets, and I'm just going to take these and pin them onto the side. So yes, I did adjust my bow off camera. I thought I did, and kind of cut the length of the little tails there. I'm going to pin this on, and once I do that, this project is complete, and we'll see how it looks in the final stages at the end of the video. With that said, let's move on to project number 2. So for this project, I am using this that you get at Dollar Tree, and I just kind of traced around it and made it a little bit bigger. Again, I'm bringing in this fabric like we used on the first one. And again, these fabrics all came from Hobby Lobby. I just love this. It's so kind of shabby and romantic. So I've cut around that, pulling that off. I've got 2 pieces. We're going to sew it just like we did the other hearts. I've got it pinned, you know, so there's a space. If you're using glue or hot glue, Fabri-Tac hot glue, you're going to glue all the way around, leaving that little center space open. Or, of course, taking it to the sewing machine. And I love the shape of this heart, so I buy those big packages. They come in like 4 or 5 hearts at Dollar Tree, and I just use them for the patterns themselves. So once I get that sewn, I'm going to go ahead and get it all stuffed off camera. So here it is ready to go, and of course hot glue or Fabri-Tac to close it, or, you guessed it, the sewing machine. Nice and easy. We're doing it just like we did the other heart. But I think the shape of this just makes it fun. Here that is, shape of it, and then I'm just pulling around the edges just like I showed you on the first one to kind of distress it all up, give it that shabby look for us. Perfect. Now this is actually going to sit inside a bed spring, so we're going to use that as our stand. So when we do this and we go to put our elements on top of our heart, you want to make sure that the elements sit a little bit more up, because that bottom of that heart's going to kind of sit down into the bed spring. So kind of keep that in mind. So we're bringing up some Reneabouquets, the circuit elements here, and I've cut them into some smaller pieces, and we're going to use that other ATC Sweetheart tag. I've got the same paper I used in the first one, so a lot of the same elements. I've sewed around the edges and everything already. And I'm just kind of laying my element pieces here where I want to put them and make sure that they'll, you know, up high enough for when it sits in the bed spring. And again, I'm distressing the edges of that paper. And I'm going to go ahead on the back of my tag here, I'm going to go ahead and glue down one of the circuit elements that I've cut. And I'm adding in some cardboard. Like I said earlier, these Reneabouquets Beautiful Board laser cut chipboard or the thickness of a nickel. So I'm adding some cardboard here around the rest of the tag to take up that space so that I can now lay my paper on top, and that paper is going to lay level against all those pieces. And then I'll do the same thing on the flip side. So right now I'm just kind of, again, laying my pieces down to see where I want them to be glued onto the back of this. And again, making sure everything is more in the top portion of the center of that heart, because that bottom portion is going to sit down inside that bed spring. And I'm going to add my other little element piece here. I love these element pieces because you can cut them up and put them how you like it. And then, of course, adding more cardboard again, just like we did the front. And now that'll lay nice and flat on the front of our heart. So we're just taking all these kind of scrapbooking mixed media items, instead of, flat in a scrapbook album, we're just kind of taking it to a 3D kind of home decor look, right? It's always fun to watch these things, even if you don't really do them on a regular basis. You learn all sorts of things. So there I was just kind of making sure that what I had glued on will fit inside the bed spring with no issues. And then I've got these cute little doilies in my supply. I used to, when I go to garage sales and stuff, I look around for old tablecloths and things that, doilies I can cut up. So glued that down on there, and then glued down kind of that little metal clock there from scrapbooking. You can find that in scrapbooking sections. And then some more of that floral trim that we used in the first project, and some more of that quilting thread. Just kind of bringing back in the same elements. Again, using the larger heart from that Happy Valentine's Day. And I'm going to just go ahead and figure out where I want it here. And then you can see here how I ripped the leaves off the back of my flowers, cutting the stems off these ones. So we'll go ahead and glue that heart down and go ahead and glue our flowers in place. So a lot of the same elements, you can see the same kind of technique. So, you just kind of learn how to layer things and put things together and all the different things you can use if you kind of want to go for that shabby look. I don't want anyone to be afraid of this if this is new to you. I just want you to see how neat it can be to use these different elements. So one of these clock hands from that set of 6 decorative clock hands from Reneabouquets, I'm just going to tuck it in because it kind of goes with that timepiece element. And then some of these skeleton leaves, since I ripped the leaves off the flowers, our leaves need to have flowers, right? But I like these better because they're just really light and airy, and there's leaves there, but they're not in your face leaves. And then another little bow I made out of some really thin twine. We're going to, again, same thing like last time, glue it in the center of the flowers. Now this is the quote, the sticker quote, "Love with all your heart," I started with. We're going to change that up later, but I do the same thing, sew it onto some cereal cardboard, distress the edges, and glue it onto that heart. And then I'm going to use the word sweet from that Sweet as Sugar set, Reneabouquets. I'm going to go ahead and glue this kind of down near the bottom of our ensemble. Kind of like sweet love is my thing. And then we're going to glue in that cute butterfly kisses, Aurora Borealis in pink, right in the center of the flowers. Same thing, the same pattern, right? But each of these look totally different. And then I'm coming in again with my glue. I've got little sequins here, my little pebbles, using the Reneabouquets Gaudy Girl glitter glass. You can see I just kind of touch the glue to that sequin, and then I lay the sequin down. And in areas where I want the glitter glass, I paint on the glue. Or if you use Fabri-Tac glue, squeeze it on, pour on the glitter glass, shake off the excess. And then I have these little gems. I know Hobby Lobby has packages of little gems. Reneabouquets has flat pearls that you can get, and micro beads, all these kind of little things that you can put onto projects just like this, just like I'm doing. I just didn't have the micro beads in the right color, so I'm using these little stones. And then these cute little gems, just putting them where I want. This is kind of what it looks like. I even put it onto the pillow with the gems and the sequins and the glitter glass. You can see there where my quote is now ripped off. We're going to put a new one on there. So I've got it cut out here. I just didn't like that one. I don't know. I didn't like what it said, or the writing, the whiteness of the writing or something like that. Just wasn't working for me. We're going to go ahead and glue that on, and it says, "Will you promise never to leave me?" I like that one better. And now here is another piece of fabric, just like the fabric in that first project. I just ripped it off. It's like 4-inch wide, ripped it off of the fabric, made a bow, and I'm temporarily safety pinning it where I want, that I think it's going to be. And then I'm going to take it in and squeeze it down into that bed spring. And then once I decide, yes, that's where I want the bow, I'll go ahead and glue it down with some Beacon Fabri-Tac glue, let it set, just glue a little bit, let it set, pull it out, pull the safety pin out, add some more glue. I do that kind of all off camera. And once it's set completely, I can put it back into the bed spring. And then I want to go ahead and adjust the tails of my bow here. So I just kind of made a little cut, and then I rip off the excess, however long I want it. Just like that. And we're going to come back again with another little bulb pin and this love word from Reneabouquets. We're going to pin that to the center of our bow, and that makes this project complete. So I hope you enjoyed both of these shabby fabric heart projects today using product from Reneabouquets.com. I love how they turned out. I love the shabbiness of them. I love the romanticness of them, if that's a word. I would leave these out all year long, but you know, that's just my game. Leave me a comment down below and let me know which project was your favorite. Of course, I will have all the links to the Reneabouquets product I use on these projects in the description box below. Please give this video a thumbs up. And before you click off, if you like what you saw here today, make sure you hit that red subscribe button and notification bell so you don't miss out on any further videos from me. Before I go, I'm going to leave you with one final thought. Once we embrace how big our God is and realize that His power has no limits, that His grace holds no bounds, we can ask ourselves this: are my problems bigger than God, or is God bigger than my problems? So, how big is your God? Is He bigger than your financial concerns? Is He bigger than your fears? Is He bigger than your dreams? Is He big enough to heal you? Is He big enough to heal your family members? If your answer is yes, my God is bigger than any of these things, then I'm going to leave you with this: pray like it. I thank you for sharing your time with me, and I'll talk with you again soon. Bye.